Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Honeycast. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to feel negative emotions. Does that sound like fun? Well, it may not be fun. However, it is a game changer. And when I realized that every feeling that I have is not necessarily a true feeling, or it may be a true feeling, but every feeling that I have doesn't necessarily have to happen to me. That's awesome. That is what I love, love, love teaching my clients, especially with weight loss, because weight loss is a mindset game. I'm telling you, our sabotaging thoughts keep us off and on that dieting roller coaster. And when you can realize and you can become aware that your thoughts are driving and leading you in different areas, and you don't have to think those thoughts sometimes aren't you. You have power, my friend. And that is what happened to me. I was a personal trainer for lots of years, and I had clients mainly in the gym. This was before Trim Healthy, and I would work with them a little bit with nutrition, but mainly with working out with weights. And I would see they would see some results for sure, for sure. When I found Trim Healthy and I started using Trim Healthy at the very, very beginning with my clients, and at this time I didn't have a full docket of clients because I was homeschooling, pregnant every other year, 9 kids, all the things. But I usually had one or two ladies that I was continuing to help. And so when we started using Trim Healthy and kind of guinea pig myself and my clients, they really started to see even greater results. But then they would get to this point where they would fall off. I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? Why stop? That's when I realized that mindset was really an obstacle, and was just blessed to get some amazing training from a life coach, Brooke Castillo, of the life coaching school. It was a game changer for me in my personal life and in my business as well. But figuring out how the tools that I needed to really deal with mindset with myself and my clients, that was when I started seeing traction, big traction, not just like little gains or muscle gains or little losses, little fat losses. No, I'm talking about a renewed mind. I'm talking about a determination and a commitment and a continue to show up instead of the off on, off on. When we start to kind of get onto ourselves, what is our brain telling us? And so what I realized was emotions are just feelings. They're just chemicals in our body, and they don't have to rule us. You don't have to eat the donut. You don't have to eat the midnight snack. You don't have to go off the plan. But what I found was that we were compelled to do that, right? And so when I started learning these tools, one of them was feel the feelings. Let's not eat the feelings. Let's not avoid the feelings. Let's not get busy buffering. Those things are okay. It's not going to answer the problem. The issue is, are we taught to feel our negative emotions? And what do our negative emotions drive us to do, and how we feel? So, this was something that really helped me on how to feel emotion. So, number one, the first thing to do is to name the emotion. And sometimes that can be hard. I actually had a worksheet that had a list. I Googled it, a worksheet that had a list of all the different emotions. And it was not fun. That's not a great word. It was interesting to pick the one that I was feeling, because the more specific you get with it, the more you can understand what your brain is telling you about that specific feeling or thought. So the first thing you're going to do is to name the feeling, and it needs to be one word. If you find yourself naming the feeling with 3 or 4 words, that's a thought, not a feeling. And it's interesting, when I do this with my clients, I will go through what is called the model, and I'm asking them, okay, what are you feeling when you think I want the cookie? And sometimes they can't get to the feeling. And I remember doing this as well. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. But some people are very in touch with their feelings, and they're immediately, I feel this. So it could be, there's some people are a little bit more better at naming those emotions, but the more that you practice, the better you get. So it's a one word emotion. Number two you're going to find where that is in your body because guess what? It is a chemical. When you think a thought, your brain is making chemicals and those chemicals are your emotions. And they're there for a reason for sure, but not unchecked. And so, where are you feeling that in your body? A lot of times I feel it like in my gut or in my throat. Sometimes I'll feel it like around my mouth. It depends on what it is. Most of the time I'm feeling it more in my gut. And if it's stress, sometimes I'm feeling that in my shoulders. So you name the feeling, you find where it is in your body. Where am I feeling this? And then here's the hard part. Instead of tensing up against it, instead of, no, I don't want to think this, you want to relax into it. Relaxing into it is how you get rid of it, you guys. I learned this in childbirth, honestly. My first, let's see, 3 children were born and I had epidurals with them in the hospital and really I did feel some pain for sure. I can't say that I could get through contractions and whatnot. I wasn't trained at that point in time. I was just like, get rid of the pain. Just get rid of the pain and give me the baby. And after that third baby, I just, for whatever reason, felt led to have some natural births and had a lot of training that I believe God was training me in natural childbirth for life. For childbirth, yes, for life. Because it was a mental game and it was also it was a physical game and a mental game. And the first baby that I had, I would not go into labor. My body would not, my water wouldn't break. I was in labor for like pseudo labor, about 24 hours. And I was feeling the pain, but my body was not doing anything. It was so I was just so working against myself, but I didn't know it. And they were getting ready to send me home because they were just like, you're nothing. Like you're not one. But I was really having some strong contractions. And I'm really glad I had a friend that was a nurse and she was there and she said, you know what? I really think you're going to go once we give you an epidural. And I'm going to tell them that you've progressed so that you can stay. And I was like, oh, thank you. Because I had already been there, come back, been there, come back. It was one of those things. I'm telling you, as soon as I got that epidural, and right after that, I started dilating. And right after that, my water broke. And it was like this. I had to relax. I had to lean into it. And when I had an epidural, of course, that was a lot easier. But fast forward, when I'm having my first natural birth and then I had home birth after that, I really had to learn how to work with my body and how to relax into pain. I did not want to do that, but I had to. And that really taught me a great lesson, even about emotions now, is instead of resisting and running away or tightening up, it's the opposite. I lean into it. I even start deep breathing, like, how does this feel? And I try to relax into it. It kind of is a practice. And so once we relax into it, the next step is to explore it. What does this feel like? What is this? If this were a color, what color would it be? And you sit with it for a little bit. It's not fun. It's not. But if you realize that this is how you're processing it and you can process it out, it's a lot easier to, what is this like? What does this feel like? Number 5, I already said this, picture what it looks like. Number 6, I remind myself, okay, this is only here because of thoughts in my head. Nothing has gone wrong. I'm safe. I'm here because there are thoughts in my head and I don't have to figure any of this out right now. Right now, I'm just processing this emotion so we can move it out. And of course, I want to feel better. And then the last thing is you do that until it subsides. Most of the time in 20 minutes, most of the time that subsides and you have a little bit of relief. If the feeling is very strong, it may last a little bit longer than that. It may even come back again. But when it comes back lighter. It comes back just a little bit more where you can handle it and you do the same thing again. This seems so foreign. When I heard this, and I actually watched a coach somebody in the middle of them having an emotion, which was very vulnerable and almost hard to watch. But when I saw that, I was like, I've never in my life known how to allow and feel an emotion. And so now the way I do that really is that process, and I do it through journaling. And journal, I know not everybody's a journaler, that's okay, but that is how I am moving out that negative emotion so that I'm in charge of what I'm thinking and how I'm showing up. And I'm not reacting and trying to make myself feel better with things that maybe aren't going to make me feel better. So I think it is a wonderful skill to have, is to allow that negative emotion. Like even now when my kids are hurt or disappointed. When I was a younger mom, I think I was kind of the mentality of, yeah, get over it. Or yeah, and not really. I mean, of course, that sounds kind of mean, but of course I would hug them or whatever. But now I find myself, well, first of all, I find myself wishing that I had done it differently for sure. But I find myself going, oh, tell me about that. How does that feel? Where do you feel that? I'm so sorry. I know that's really hard. And I give them permission to feel that negative feeling. And that way it's just a healthy processing tool, right? And we don't have to get stuck. Not saying that, sometimes we are stuck, but these tools are very helpful. And how does this even relate to midlife and weight loss? It relates in every way, especially if you go through menopause and you are having a really, really tough time, which I did and went through. And being able to realize these are thoughts created in my head, causing these emotions. And yes, they are real, and this is hard, and this is why this is going on, but here's what we're going to do. The other thing, too, was that helped me, besides managing and learning how to feel my emotions, was self care, taking care of myself. And then getting on hormone replacement therapy. That's another podcast I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about my journey. Everybody's journey is different, and mine is really just to share just what's helped me and what hasn't helped me and what I've learned. And so for me, learning to allow those emotions was part of this transformation that's happening in midlife that helped carry me out emotionally and somewhat physically into just a better space. So hopefully you can take these tools and you can start practicing them. You can do that by journaling. You can do that just by sitting. I mean, 15 minutes, you guys. This does not have to be an hour-long thing. This literally can be a 15-minute break. Give it a try. Let me know how it works for you.